to Haunted Hangover Haunt Reviews. I'm Louie. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I got a chance to check out the Stranger Things Experience here in New York. So spoiler warning at the top here, because I'll be going into what happens at this event, and I don't want to spoil it for you if you plan on going, but I've got a little non-spoiler review I can hit you with. If you're a fan of the show, you're going to love this. It's immersive, interactive, and features some of the characters you know and love from the series. Plus, the mixtape area after the actual experience is A++. It features food, cocktails, photo ops, and merch. Now, let me dive deep into spoiler territory. Now, the setup for this experience places you at the Hawkins laboratory for a sleep study. The actors that are portraying these doctors, they do a great job at kind of setting up the situation, setting up the story for you before you enter the actual attraction. There's a ton of references in the room you wait in. They have this whole color coordinated deal where it's like yellow, red, blue, and that comes into play during the actual attraction because that's kind of what prompts you to use your powers when the time comes. I will say this too, which I thought was really cool. During the actual, when you go to an attraction, there's usually a kind of video package type deal that gives you a breakdown of what the rules are. And I do like how they had Paul Reiser reprise his role as Dr. Owens, sort of breaking down what to do, what not to do. Typical it's something you would see at like Universal Studios or Disney before you get on an actual ride. I like that they kept the immersion intact using him specifically, and I was actually kind of surprised. I was like, oh, it's Paul Reiser, cool, portraying this character, kind of keeping with the theme of the entire attraction. Obviously, things go wrong, and with the help of the Hawkins kids, you have to escape the laboratory, save Max, who's stuck in the Upside Down, along with 11, who's... I can't tell... See, when I was on the attraction, I couldn't tell if 11 was in the Upside Down or, like, just stuck in that void room she transports herself to. That's what I took it as, because 11 pops up on the screens several times throughout the attraction until the very end, which I'll get to in a second. But you also learn while entering different rooms that you are also gifted like 11 and have powers. Now, the actual attraction itself is made up of different rooms. There's about 5 of them to my recollection, including the Rainbow Room, which was really cool, and a security office. Now, each one of these rooms is highly detailed, and you have to sort of participate, you and your group, to escape them. I do like that there was no guide. Like, there is a guide, technically. One of the earlier rooms, they have you trying to solve these puzzles so that they can figure out who has powers. You all do. Everyone in the room has powers except for the doctor that's talking to you. But I do like how you have to use your newly discovered powers to sort of get out of the room. And you're prompted by the characters on screen. In one of the rooms, the characters, the Stranger Things kids, the Hawkins kids, are inside of a vent, and you see their flashlight. You don't actually see them, you just see the flashlight. And they kind of tell you what to do and kind of guide you, like, okay, put these benches against a wall, or against a door, I should say. Okay, Team Blue, use your powers to lower a lever. Team Red, break a door, something along those lines. Like, every room, there's certain things you have to do to escape them. My personal favorite of these rooms had to be the security office. Once you get inside, there's a bunch of monitors. You can see what's happening in other rooms in the Hawkins laboratory. And obviously, since this is Stranger Things, the demo dogs are set free from the Upside Down. So they're kind of just wreaking havoc in the laboratory, killing doctors. And you're seeing all of this on the monitors. And there's this really cool effect because at one point, they have these kind of clouded glass doors. There's several of them in the room. And you can see the demo dogs killing these doctors and blood splattering on the glass. The demo dogs are jumping on the glass trying to get in. They crack it. So there's a couple of times where a doctor's like, let me in, let me in, let me in. And it's just like whatever they did, and I'm assuming it's screens in front of something, it looks really realistic, and honestly, it was the most impressive thing to me in this entire experience. Now, eventually, you and the other guests use your powers to open up a portal to the upside down. It was really cool because they actually created a tunnel and a portal that you walk through, and you could tell they use like curtains that are made of vinyl and stuff, and there's veins and things. Pretty good effect. I enjoyed it. It's practical, which I can appreciate, instead of it just being a screen, or they could have completely bypassed it altogether. But you grab a pair of 3D glasses and you enter a large standing 3D theater. When you walk into the theater, you see all the trees, you're in the upside down, it's dark, there's the red light, the blue light, you see those little floating, I call them snow, I think those particles that float in the air in the upside down. And then eventually Max appears and she's introducing herself to the group. And then here is where you have to save Max from a group of Demogorgons with the help of 11. She finally decides to show up and helps you by using the power, and she's trying to close a portal. She's trying to defeat Demogorgons. There's a lot of really cool effects, because at one point, one of the coolest 3D effects in this theater has 11 freezing a Demogorgon, or was it a Demodog, one of the creatures, right in front of you. And honestly, this is like crystal clear 3D, so it looks like this Demodog or Demogorgon is right in front of you. After the experience is over, you exit into the mixtape area. I hung out here for around 2 hours. I got a cocktail at the Upside Down bar. It was called Friends Don't Lie. It was a tequila-based drink. A little sweet, but enjoyable. I did notice they had a cocktail called the Demogorgon. That sounds awfully familiar to one we made recently here at Haunted Hangover. Wink, wink. I'm just kidding. I also ordered a pie at the Surfer Boy Pizza Van, which was pretty tasty. I wasn't mad at it. I was expecting kind of a generic pizza you'd find at an amusement park, but it was a little bit better than that. I also appreciate the theming down to the Surfer Boy pizza box, which I kept, and I will show you here in the video version of this haunt review. Here it is. I wouldn't say it's exactly like the one on the TV show, but close enough. I had to keep it. I saw a lot of people keeping their boxes. At one point, a little kid walked over to me and was like, "Oh, are you keeping your pizza box?" I was like, "Hell yeah, man, I am." You know, he had like a stack of them, or I think he was looking for some for his friends or something like that. I was like, "Nah, man, I'm keeping my box. I'm keeping my $26 pizza box." There was also a few photo ops, which I'll include in the video version as well. I took a couple of pictures. I took a picture in the Scoops Ahoy area, Joyce Byers' living room with the Christmas lights, and even family video. They also have a photo booth for $5. It was cash only because apparently the machine was broken or something. That's what the woman that was kind of keeping everyone in line to get into the photo booth told us. So luckily, you know, I had a $5 bill on me so I could take some pictures in the photo booth. Now, if I had any cons when it comes to the Stranger Things experience, first and foremost, it has to be the price. This is not a cheap ticket, especially on the weekends. Considering the length of the attraction, which is around, I'd say, they say an hour on their website, but it was more like 30, 40 minutes. It's a little expensive. The day I went, I think altogether for my fiance and I, it was about $100 for both of us. But I looked at weekend, like a Saturday or a Friday night or even a Sunday, and an individual ticket was $100, and that's the normal ticket. A VIP ticket can run you more than that, which is crazy for something like this. $50, $60 max, and maybe $80 for VIP, Express, whatever, I think is a little more reasonable. But I get it. It's New York, inflation, rents are high. So I guess that's why they have to kind of raise the price so high. And you know, when you really think about it, when you go to an amusement park, which funny enough, the price of admission to this is like the price to an amusement park. And this is only not even a quarter of the amount of time you would spend inside of like a Disney, Universal, or Six Flags. So yeah, again, just I don't know. I thought it was a little overpriced. Also, keep in mind you're going to spend even more cash at the mixtape area because you're going to want to buy some merch. Maybe you're going to want to get yourself a shirt, a poster, whatever. Maybe you're going to want to get yourself some food, a cocktail, a picture in the picture booth. So you're going to end up spending even more after leaving the actual experience / attraction. So I can't imagine what a family of 4 would drop at the end of the night at this event. Now, when it comes to the actual attraction itself, any cons I have pertaining to that, I'll say this. I wish it was a little darker, considering Stranger Things is a pretty bleak show, especially this last season, season 4. I get that this isn't a haunted attraction in the traditional sense, but it still kind of falls into that realm. You know, it wasn't very scary considering the source material, but I think making things a bit darker would have helped with the overall like ambiance of it and it feeling more like the show itself. Another funny thing that happened was I noticed some people in my group were a little confused when they were prompted to use their powers. So, you know, one of the characters would say, okay, red team, you know, work together to open up this, you know, door. Yellow team, move the lever. And, you know, you use your 11 power with your hand or whatever. And at one point, I was looking around and the yellow team, they weren't even doing it. So, like, things were moving on their own. So maybe they could raise the volume up a little bit because I could hear what was happening in the big 3D room. I could hear, like, monsters making noises and things like that. So it kind of just drowns out what's happening in the room you're currently, like, standing in. So maybe raising it a bit, but then I guess if you did that, you'd hear it in the other rooms too. So it would all drown each other out. But that was just one thing I also noticed about just the people in the actual that were in my group walking through the attraction. Now, my last con, and this might just be a nitpick, while you're walking around the mixtape area, I did see 1 or 2 characters, but they weren't really interacting with anyone. There was this one guy dressed up in a Scoops Ahoy uniform. I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be Steve Harrington or not, or just a Scoops Ahoy employee. He was, at one point I think I looked and he threw himself on the floor, but I didn't see him interacting with anyone. There was one guy, and I gotta take a minute to appreciate this dude. He was like a newspaper boy. And I walked up to him and we asked him for a Hawkins paper because we saw people carrying the papers around. And he was really interactive with us. He was like, oh, did you move? Did your address change? Yada, yada, yada. You know, so that was the only guy in my 2 hours walking around the mixtape that stood in character and kind of helped the immersion. The rest of the experience, like people at the bar, people in the guys in the Surfer Boy Pizza were just dudes tallying things up and, you know, taking your order and moving forward. There was no like, hey, dude, there was none of that. And I was expecting maybe some more immersion, especially when it comes to that aspect, but I didn't get any of it here. Or at least when I went. Maybe someone else went, and let me know. Maybe you went and everyone was in character, but I was expecting just a little bit more of that. Overall, I think Stranger Things The Experience is a perfect blend of escape room and immersive 3D. I had a lot of fun, and if you're a super fan of the series, and I mean super fan, huge fan of Stranger Things, because again, not cheap, I'd recommend checking it out. So that was my review of Stranger Things The Experience. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Haunted Hangover. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/HauntedHangover31. If you can rate and review us, that'd be greatly appreciated. And remember, the best cure for a hangover is more booze. Catch you guys later.